questions on the text or anything? Ready?
Yeah, let's start.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم فقهنا في دينك وارزقنا العمل بما نتعلم واجعل ما نقوم به خالصا لوجهك وتقبله منا يا رب العالمين. O Allah, we have no knowledge except for what you have blessed us with, and indeed you are the all-knowing. O Allah, bless us with what's beneficial and bless us to implement what we learn and increase us in knowledge. O Allah, there's nothing easy except for what you have made easy, so Ya Allah, ease in every hardship for us. O Allah, bless us to be sincere in what we do and accept this act of worship from us. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Moving on. What was the last thing we covered last class?
We went over the we're going over the four categorizations of saying the three words nikah, talaq, and taking the.
How many did we cover from those?
We covered
Three. What was the first?
The first was conditional and unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
The second, explicit, inexplicit.
Mm-hmm.
The third, revocable and irrevocable.
Okay. The last categorization of the types of divorce is what is known as a sunnah divorce, a preferred way of divorcing, a haram way of divorcing, and a permissible way of divorcing. Was that clear? The sunnah way to divorce is to fulfill three conditions. If a man wants to divorce his wife, these are the three conditions he should fulfill. To divorce once, not to divorce more than once. Divorcing more than once is haram in one sitting. Secondly, in a period of purity, when a woman is not on her menstrual period. Thirdly, is when he has not been intimate with her during that period of purity. Islam is not closing the door of divorce, but Islam is trying to make it as, plausibly difficult as possible, to delay it as much as possible. And Islam has put all these obstacles to make sure that a person, when he divorces, he is 100% sure that he has divorced. Now there's a wisdom in all of this. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to divorce with these conditions? When a woman is on her menstrual period, it's a haram for you to divorce. And that is because a menstrual period is difficult for a woman to go through. She goes through physical pain. She goes through emotional pain. And when a person is in distress, and when a person is struggling physically, sometimes they're not themselves. They might say things that they do not mean. They might do things that they do not intend to do. So Islam is telling us, O men, do not divorce now, because whatever reason you were thinking of divorcing, that's not her. It just happened in the spur of moment. Hold on. And during the time of when a woman is on her period, intimacy does not take place, which can make things worse if an argument takes place. When she finishes her period, normally both the husband and wife have an interest in engaging in intimacy. And when they engage in intimacy, usually things calm down. Usually it kind of rekindles and rebuilds the love they have for one another. So Islam is saying, now you have been intimate with her, wait. Now the next period comes, you can divorce. And when her period ends after that, if you are so sure of divorcing, where you have no interest in being intimate with her, that's a sign that you are ready to divorce. Does that make sense, logically? Hence, Islam has tried to delay it as much as possible, and not something that happens in the spur of the moment. If one of these conditions are not fulfilled, then it is considered a haram divorce. It is considered a haram divorce. But even though it's a haram divorce, it's still a valid divorce that counts. Does that make sense? It's still a valid divorce that counts, because these are words you don't play with. And normally, if something is haram, it's usually invalid. if I steal Shazim's laptop and I sell it to Anas. That's a haram transaction. Is that transaction valid? No. Is that clear? But in this situation, because of the severity of the situation, the Prophet ﷺ, a man came up to him, and it was told to the Prophet ﷺ that this man divorced his wife when she was on her period. The Prophet ﷺ got upset and he got mad. And he told him, tell him, command him to take her back. Then let him wait until she is in her period of purity. And then if he wishes to divorce her, he may divorce her. From this hadith, we derive that the divorce was valid. How do we know that?
Because he asked him to take her back.
Take her back. If the divorce wasn't valid, there's no taking her back. Was that clear? So we got the sunnah way of divorcing and the haram way of divorcing. And if a person intentionally divorces the haram way, he is sinful. It's a sin on the person. Then there are situations where it's neither a sunnah preferred way, neither a haram way. It's just a permissible. That is if marriage has not been consummated. Shazim got married to? Use a non-Muslim name. Give me a name.
Jessica.
Give me a new name like, oh, Jessica.
Michelle.
Let him choose.
No, you choose
You know,
first.
you choose.
Okay, let's go with you choose Qatar.
Non-Muslim name.
Not Muslim name?
Non-Muslim. A non-Arabic name.
Clara?
Clara. Shazim and Clara got married. Right after the nikah, a fight broke out between Shazim and Clara's dad. And Shazim's like, I'm done. I divorce you. We say, because there's no consummation that took place, and hence there is no iddah over here. We'll cover the iddah in a bit. And there's no waiting period. Over here, we say it's permissible for you to engage in this type of divorce. Whether it's you should divorce or not divorce, that's a different issue. But to execute the divorce in this way is permissible for you. Was that clear? Second person is a woman who does not have menstrual periods. A woman who does not have menstrual periods, because there is no concept of periods, any divorce that takes place, it's considered a permissible divorce. And we'll come to the waiting period for a woman who does not have a menstrual period. Either she's in her menopausal period, meaning she no longer has a menstrual period, or she's someone who has a medical condition that does not have a period.
So, older women who do not have their periods cannot have a divorce?
No, they can have a divorce,
Okay.
but the concept of a preferred or a haram divorce does not occur. It's permissible.
It's permissible.
Yes. The last is a pregnant woman. A woman who's pregnant, it is permissible for a man to divorce her, but he has to take care of her and whatever is required for the child. And we'll cover that inshallah in the end. What is a woman entitled to when she is divorced? Was that clear? Yes.
Even if the child isn't his.
No, the child is his. How will he divorce her? If she is someone else's.
Yeah.
No, then that would not be okay, because she cannot be married when she's pregnant. That's not possible. Was that clear? Any questions about this? Yes.
So would an example of this be when, are you familiar with the story of Fatima bint Qais?
Yes.
When she proposed and then the Prophet ﷺ said, go back to your family. Would this be one of the permissible ways of divorce?
Go back to your family.
After she said, A'udhu billahi mink.
Could be. All right. Did we cover revocable and irrevocable?
Yes.
What did we say about what is revocable divorce?
If, revocable.
Any divorce less than 3 times.
Any divorce less than 3 times?
Without compensation.
Without compensation?
And after
And
consummation.
And after consummation. If one of these 3 things miss, then it's considered to be irrevocable. There's minor irrevocable and there's major irrevocable. Minor irrevocable is they can both get married, they can both get back together, but it would require
Remarriage.
a new nikah. A major irrevocable, they cannot get back together. Major irrevocable happens when she has been divorced 3 times. If a man tells his wife, going back to the halal and haram, or the sunnah and the haram divorce, we mentioned that it's only once. You're not allowed to divorce more than once. If a person divorces more than once, it counts more than once. But we asked a person, when you repeated the divorce, what did you mean? Did you mean to add another divorce? Or were you repeating and emphasizing on the first divorce? Does that make sense? So for example, when Shazim was divorcing Clara, and let's say this was after they had lived together. Because after, if there's no consummation, she's immediately not his wife. There's no iddah or nothing, right? So there's no application of a second divorce. After Shazim and Clara lived for like 6 months, he said, I divorce you. And then Clara said, what? He said, I divorce you. Are you sure, Shazim? Yes, I divorce you. How many divorces is that?
3.
No, that's 1.
Oh.
Because he was repeating the first one. He was answering the question Clara was asking. Does that make sense? But if he's like, I'm so mad at you, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced.
That's 3.
That is 3. And the person can lie about this, but we tell the person, you're risking a halal or haram relationship. It's not worth it. Was that clear? A minor irrevocable is when the divorces are less than 3 and the period ends. Or there's compensation. And compensation will cover right after this, inshallah. Was that clear? Right. Any questions about this?
So if somebody just says like you're divorced, you're divorced, that counts as 3.
We asked the person, what did you mean by your repetition of the word divorce?
So just by saying it.
Yes, we covered this last class. The words divorce occur whether you were mad or not mad, whether you meant it or you didn't mean it, you were joking or not joking, it occurs. Right? Yes.
Will you cover that if there's a possibility of getting back with the same person that you've divorced 3 times?
Yes, I'll come to that, inshallah. When it's a major irrevocable divorce, meaning the woman or the wife has been divorced 3 times, the only way she can go back to her previous husband if she gets married to someone else. And that marriage is done not with the intention of halalifying it for the first husband. And that marriage is consummated. Then she is allowed to go back to her previous husband. Was that clear? Yes.
I had a question. I don't know what the time frame is between saying like I divorce you. Let's say a woman's with a man and he says it in 3 different time periods.
Yes.
Far apart.
Yes.
And he doesn't remember how many times he said it.
Yeah.
What would you say the
So the default, we go with the lower number, whatever he's sure with. So the default is that he hasn't said it, right? So if one person is claiming, so one person is claiming that he divorced and another person is claiming he didn't divorce. The burden of proof is on who? The person who's claiming that he's divorced. Because by default, she is still his wife until proven otherwise, right? So we asked the person, how many times do you think are you sure? Not you're doubtful about. How many times are you sure? If he says once, I'm doubtful about the second. We say you were only divorced once. You're sure you divorced twice. You're doubtful about the third. You're divorced twice. Okay. Was the major irrevocable getting married to her again clear? Okay. We have something known as khula. Khula is an annulment. Before that, khula is when the woman wants out. A woman wants out of the marriage, and the man does not want to leave. Right? So Shazim and Clara. Clara was done with Shazim's, him attending classes all the time and going to the masjid. I'm making Clara the bad person here, right? I want to let you know. And Clara says, I want out. And Shazim's like, no, I really love you. I would really like to stay with you. Don't leave me. And Clara's like, sorry, I'm out. I want to leave. And Shazim's like, I'm not divorcing you. And Clara's like, I am out. Either you give me a khula, a separation, or I'll go to court. So, we have a few scenarios, and I want you guys to focus over here. Shazim, for scenario 1, Shazim is a dignified person, and he says, if you don't want to be with me, I don't want to be with you. I divorce you. This counts as divorce, not a khula. Was that clear? Second scenario, Clara comes to Shazim and says, I'll give you $1,000, divorce me. Right? Or Shazim is new to his marital life, and he spent $10,000 on, furnishing the apartment, the wedding, the honeymoon, all of that. And he's like, I spent all of this, and she wants to leave me a month later. I was saving up on all of that. She says, I'll give you the $10,000. Divorce me. That is called divorce with compensation. If you guys remember, we said that the revocable divorce is divorce that is less than 3 times without compensation and after consummation. This is divorce with compensation. This is considered to be a minor irrevocable divorce. If he wants to marry her, he has to do a new nikah, a new mahar, witnesses, wali, all of that. Was that clear? Everyone got the idea?
But it'll count as a divorce only when
It'll count as a divorce.
when the husband agrees.
The husband agrees. I'll divorce you for $1,000. The last is what is known as khula. He does not want to divorce. He does not agree with the whole concept, but he's just agreeing with her. He has no interest in divorce. And in this scenario, this is called khula, where she has to give something back. And Shazim has a right to ask. It said till the mahar. He has a right to ask for the mahar back. He paid 5,000 in mahar. If he wants to, he has a right to say, I'll give you a khula, but give me my mahar back. Give me the mahar back. Is that clear? Then he says, I give you khula. If he says, I give you divorce, it counts as
Divorce.
divorce, because the word divorce does not mean anything but divorce. Is that clear? And you mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet ﷺ said the word divorce only means divorce. So if the khula is done with the word of divorce, we count it as divorce, not a khula. Khula is different about its implication amongst the scholars. Some scholars say it makes no difference whether you use the word divorce or khula. They both count as divorce. And according to them, makes no difference whether you use the word divorce or khula. It is the same thing.
So in that analogy, the woman can divorce.
No. The man is the one who gives the khula. But the khula technically is a divorce, according to them. Another group of scholars say no. A khula is not a divorce. A khula is an annulment. An annulment is something we'll cover inshallah in a bit too, that it does not count as a divorce. Why is that important if it doesn't count as a divorce? The 3 times. If we say it's a divorce, and Shazim already divorced his wife twice, this would be the last one, done. And if we say no, it's not a divorce, it's an annulment, this would not count as a divorce, and if he wants to marry her, he can, without her needing to marry someone else. Was that clear? So there are 2 schools of thought over here. One school of thought says it counts as a divorce. And for them, whether they use the word divorce or use the word khula makes no difference. Because they both consider it to be talaq, divorce. The other school of thought says no. A khula is an annulment. If the word khula was used, that does not mean a divorce. Is that clear? And if the word divorce was used, that counts as a divorce. Was that clear? A little bit more technical, and I want you guys to focus with me. The school of thought that says khula is an annulment, they say compensation is necessary. She has to give something back, or it does not count as a khula. Is that clear? The other schools of thought who count it as a divorce, they say that compensation is not required. Meaning you can get khula without compensation, because they say it is, at the end of the day, it is a divorce. Doesn't matter. Was that clear? It's a bit technical, but I want you guys to understand this because people confuse this a lot. You cannot pick and choose these details between these two opinions. You cannot say, I want a khula without compensation, but not counted as a annulment. Either you go with one opinion completely, or you go with the other. Because if you mix them both and you say, I want a khula without compensation, but I want it to count it as an annulment, we say no opinion says that. There are some very, very minor opinions that say that, to be just academically sincere. But none of the chosen and dominant opinions agree with this. Was that clear? Like, khula is something the man does not want to divorce. If a man pressures his wife into getting a khula just so he can have the option of taking her back in the future and count it as an annulment, and he doesn't risk it being the third divorce, we say this does not count as a khula. Was that clear? The man doesn't want to be with his wife. I mean, he has already divorced his wife twice. And he's like, I don't want to divorce you because I don't know whether in the future I would want to continue with you or not. But right now I know we need to separate. So I want you to ask me a khula. Khula is usually initiated by the woman. And he pressures her. And he makes her life difficult. He doesn't provide for her. He's not nice to her. And so on and so forth. We say this is not a khula. This is a divorce. Was that clear? According to the school of thought that counts as a divorce, they make no difference. You call it a khula, divorce, the implications, the consequences are the same. But the school of thought that counts as an annulment, they say this does not have the essence of a khula. It has the title of a khula, but in reality it's not. And this is something that happens in our time. The man will pressure the wife to get a khula just so that he can keep the door open just in case if they want to get back. We say either she asks for it or it will count as a divorce. Let's say the husband does not want to divorce. And this is very, very common. Shazim and Clara. So this is the first step how to get khula. Clara will come to Shazim and say, I want the khula, and I'll give you the mahar back, or I'll give you half the mahar back, or I'll give you 1/4 of the mahar back. It has to be some amount. Doesn't necessarily have to be the mahar. Scenario 1, Shazim says, I agree. I grant you the khula. The khula is done. You don't need a judge. You don't need any judicial process, no court, nothing. Khula is done. Is that clear? Scenario 2.
That one's minor irrevocable, right?
Okay, yeah. Annulment is immediately irrevocable.
The first scenario is minor and
Minor irrevocable. All annulments are considered minor irrevocable. If you count it as divorce, then it depends. Scenario 2, Shazim does not want to divorce. Does not want to give the khula. I am not giving a khula. He is mad that she's leaving him. Right? He doesn't want to leave her. I am not giving a khula. And happens a lot. The man holds the woman hostage in this situation. He wants to punish her. And we tell men in this situation, it's an ethical issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Quran says, الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. Divorce is twice. When it comes to the third time, divorce gracefully or keep her with dignity. When you divorce gracefully. Even though you could have been wronged. Even though you're the one who's losing out. Even though you did not want to divorce, if it's come to this point where the marriage cannot be reconciled or fixed, make it easy. There's no point of making this difficult. It's not going to benefit you, and it's not going to benefit her. And if you have kids, it's definitely not going to benefit the kids. Right? Be a man in this situation. Be protective of her rights and her feelings and her emotions in this regard. Sheikh, what about me? Yes, I understand. It's a difficult point. Difficult situation. And same with the sister. We tell the sister, whatever's on your end, make it easier. Prolonging this has no khair in it. If you both have decided that divorce is the only solution, then make it easy when it comes to child custody, court processes, all of that. Get it done. Move on with life. Being lingered in this process is only going to cause stress on both sides, and you're going to be even more bitter, and you're going to say things that you're going to regret later on. And if you have kids, you're going to show your kids what kind of parent you are. And kids won't forget. My dad treated my mom this way, or my mom treated my dad this way. Right? And if you treat them gracefully, with respect and dignity, they won't forget that either. Right? Scenario 2, Shazim does not want to give the khula. Now Clara has the option to go to court. And she will file a case in court. This is normally under a Muslim judge who will come to Shazim and say, Shazim, give her khula. Shazim says, nope, I'm not giving khula. Then the judge will say, either he will give him time or tell him, if you don't give her khula, I am going to give her khula on your behalf. And you have no option. Was that clear? And the judge will pass on the judgment of khula. And there's a whole process of how that happens. In our country, or where we live right now, in our situation, we don't have a Muslim judge. Right? What do? Be careful who you go to ask for khula. Any young imam, you should not go to him for khula. Is that clear? Always look for a council that deals with these issues. Alhamdulillah, there are a lot more efforts are going on in creating these councils where a group of scholars come together, 2 or 3 scholars come together, they look at the case and they give a very clear, after they've exhausted all options, making sure that this is a clean break, then they'll grant the khula. Right? Because what happens if the khula is doubtful? That means she's not divorced or separated completely. If she's not separated completely, that means she cannot marry someone else. Right? A lot of times, unwise or unexperienced people will grant khulas. It's like as if they're giving, they're selling candy. Oh, this woman came to the office. She wants a khula. Okay, husband's not divorcing. Khalas, khula. No. It's a process. The imam has to first try to mediate. Has to make sure that everything is distributed properly. If there are children, custody, divorce, civil divorce, all of that, then he gives and grants the khula. Was that clear? Yes.
In terms of the custody and compensation,
Yes.
is it gone by the inheritance? Like, how do you compensate? Like, the
Whatever they agree upon.
agreement?
So if they don't agree upon anything, the mahar is what he is usually entitled to.
Okay.
Any questions about khula? If I missed something. Yes.
Regarding the ikhtilaf, which madhahib hold what view?
The Hanbali school of thought holds the opinion that it counts as an annulment. But they stipulate what? Compensation.
Compensation.
They do not allow khula without compensation.
In the compensation, can you ask for more than the mahr that was given?
You could. But if she doesn't agree, then the judge can force the mahar to be the compensation and get it done. The other 3 schools, the Hanafis and the Malikis and the Shafis, they're all counted as a divorce.
Based on the decision of the shuyukh and the imam, can they say that the woman does not need to give the mahr back?
I will come to that. In some scenarios, she does not have to give anything back. I will come to that, inshallah. Making sure I'm not missing anything. Any questions from the sister side? All right, we're good. Now we have what is known as annulment. Khula is a type of annulment according to one of these schools. And there are other types of annulments. Annulment is allowed for both the husband and the wife to kind of apply for or to file for one of two reasons. Or you can make it three if you want. One is if a condition is not being fulfilled. The wife stipulated that she wants Ali. The wife. Give me something more specific.
Specific.
She paid. You asked for you to pay for her education. Ali was during the nikah. His wife, her name is. Give me a non-Muslim name. Veronica. I chose for you because you guys take forever. Ali and Veronica were getting married. Veronica stipulated what?
Education.
Ali, I have 2 years left. And my dad is going to give me over to you. He was taking care of my tuition. Now you got to take care of my tuition. You agree? Ali says, I agree. Ali, mashallah, had a nice job. Things are going well. I said, I can easily take care of this. No problem. 1 year. How many years was the stipulation? 2 years. 2 years of tuition. 1 year into his marriage, Ali lost his job. Veronica needs to finish her education. She has a right to say, Ali, this was a condition. She can either be understanding and say, I waive my right. Even though I asked for this was a condition. I don't want it. It's okay. Whenever you find the job, I'll pause my studies now. Whenever you get a job, then I'll resume my studies. Or she can say, it's not my job to find out whether you have a job or not. That's your responsibility. You either pay for my education or this is a violation of the condition. She can go to court and say, this was a condition in our nikah and he did not fulfill it. I am applying for an annulment. The judge will ask Ali what's going on. Ali will say, Judge, I don't have anything. I cannot fulfill this condition. The judge will grant a fasakh, an annulment of the nikah. Was that clear? That is if a condition is not fulfilled. Secondly, if a right is not fulfilled. We mentioned God-given rights. Ali stops paying the rent for the house. She is very rich, mashallah. Right? Ali says, mashallah, you make 200K. I'm making 60, 70. You take care of the rent. I'm not taking care of the rent. She can take care of the rent, no problem. Nothing for her. But she has a right to say, no, Ali, you got to pay for my rent. Even if Ali loses his job and she's making $500,000 per year. Allah has given her the right to demand accommodation and financial care. Ali fails to pay, she has a right, it's not automatically divorced. She has a right to go to court and say, Ali is not taking care of me financially. I would like to separate. And the judge will grant her not a divorce but an annulment. Annulment doesn't count as a divorce. The third is if something harmful, physical abuse, to an extent, verbal abuse, absence, a long period of absence, and so on and so forth, things that are harmful to the woman. Then she has a right to ask for annulment. Go to the judge. My husband physically abuses me. I need an annulment. Usually the application for annulment comes from the wife, not from the husband, even though it's allowed for a husband to also apply for an annulment. But why doesn't it usually go through the husband? Because he has a right to give a divorce and end the nikah, end the marriage. Right. Yes.
Say like the man is absent, right?
Yes.
Like for example, he gets like stranded on an island 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And then the woman can do the annulment without the husband?
Yes, the judge grants the annulment. The annulment has to go through the judge. Or in our situation, any legitimate Islamic authority. But a khula doesn't necessarily have to go through the judge if the husband is on board. The husband gives the khula, khalas, they don't need a judge. Was that clear? Yeah.
So every khula is an annulment, but not every annulment is a khula.
Jameel. Perfect.
What are other types of annulments?
You mentioned annulment due to not fulfilling a right,
Oh,
not fulfilling a condition, something
Oh.
harmful. Not giving the mahar. Ali had agreed to give 3,000 within 6 months. 6 months passed by, no mahar was given to Veronica. She has a right to say, give me my mahar or I'm going to court.
Sure. I hear a lot of like different opinions on what the mat is used for, and what's the purpose of a mat?
We went into a lot of detail on this.
Okay.
Maybe you can get to the recordings and find out.
Which video would it be?
It was the first one, I think.
Okay.
First or the second? Yes.
So what would be the benefit of asking for an annulment versus a divorce?
It doesn't count as a divorce.
So like a temporary solution, basically?
Yeah, in the khula, she has to give something. Remember we understand? Annulment, she doesn't have to. And this is the question you asked before. Does she always have to give something? No. If a right was violated, she doesn't have to give anything in return, and he has no right to ask for the mahar back. As long as the marriage was consummated, and a right was violated, or a condition was not fulfilled, or there was harm, the judge will grant the annulment, even if the husband is not on board, without him receiving a penny. Is that clear? Yeah.
Say the condition with Ali,
Yeah.
he couldn't pay for her education, so they left each other as an element, right? And then Ali got his job back.
Yeah. And they want to
So
get back together?
They got back together, and then
We say, Ali, don't take her back. She's not worth it.
And then he divorced her. That's the first.
No, that would not count as a divorce. Annulments do not count as a divorce.
They got back together.
Yeah.
And then he divorced him.
Yeah.
That's one.
That
That's
would
not
be
two.
one.
Okay.
That would first, yeah.
Wait, are annulments minor irreversible?
Minor, it's not a divorce, so it's called a minor irrevocable separation. So they can get back together, but a new nikah. New nikah, new mahar, everything. So let's say Ali paid 5,000 in mahar, and 1 month later he lost his job. He's not paying the rent. She goes and files for an annulment. Is he entitled to the mahar back?
No.
No. 1 month later, he gets a job back and he wants to marry her. Right? Can he marry her?
Yeah.
No problem. But a new mahar, another $5,000. A month later, he loses his job. She files for annulment.
She's not worth it.
Snake is crazy.
She's not worth it, man.
But she's gonna manage to only to find.
Is there an annulment limit?
The lawyer was really happy, right?
Is there an annulment limit like divorce?
No.
I was gonna ask.
But the annulment has to be given by a judge or an authority.
Is there a
Was it clear?
khula limit?
No.
Yeah.
But once annulment is done, khalas, they're completely separated. It's like they're strangers.
I didn't mean to answer.
Okay. Was khula clear?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go to the iddah, the waiting period. Iddah is mandatory for two types of women, or for a woman in one of two scenarios. First, if she becomes a widow, if her husband passes away, then she has to go through iddah. And her iddah is 4 months and 10 days. Iddah and ihdad are two different things. There's an iddah which is known as a waiting period, and ihdad which is known as the grieving period. Not every time you have an iddah, you have ihdad. Ihdad is only when the husband passes away. Some women, they confuse the both, and even during a divorce, they think they have a grieving period. No, they don't. You don't have a grieving period, because a grieving period has certain rulings that I'll come to, inshallah. Was that clear? If the husband passes away, the woman has an iddah of 4 months and 10 days. This is an irrevocable separation, obviously. He passed away, right? But why do we call it irrevocable? is that she is allowed to pursue any other prospect, but not explicitly. She can ask around who's single, or someone wants to marry her. He can inexplicitly approach her, but not explicitly because she's still in her iddah. Was that clear? We covered this early on as well. The second reason that mandates a iddah is consummation. And we mentioned consummation of a marriage happens with one of two things. What are they?
Being
No.
alone in the
alone
same room with
without anyone seeing.
Yes, seclusion or
Actual.
penetration.
no, any physical touch with desire. From a hug to all the way to complete intimacy. All of that counts as consummation. If consummation takes place, iddah is mandatory on the sister, on the woman. Was that clear? So let's say Shazim and Clara, I've used, let me use Ali one more time. Ali and Veronica, they get married. They get married at the Hilton, right? And they have a room upstairs. Right after the nikah, Veronica and Ali, they say, let's go up. We want to talk about something, right? Some dispute happens at the wedding. Let's go upstairs. They go upstairs. Seclusion takes place. This is after the nikah. Seclusion takes place. And Veronica and Ali are like, we don't think this is going to work out, right?
All the hate.
And they come back down, and Ali divorces Clara. Sorry, divorces Veronica. Sorry, Shazam. Sorry. Meri bibi. And he divorces Veronica. We say iddah is mandatory and the mahar is mandatory. Complete mahar.
Is it the same amount of days? 4 months and 10 days?
No. 4 months is just لما تموت, when you die.
Yeah.
Is he dead? Let's say they went upstairs and Clara said, I want to leave, and it broke Ali's heart to the point where he died. Right? Veronica, sorry. Right? Now in this situation, there's ihdat. There's a 4 months in it. But we say no, they mutually agreed, and they both decided. Now because this is technically considered as consummation, she has to wait for her iddah, and I'll come to what the iddah is, inshallah. Right? 1 second. And she's also entitled to the entire mahar. With Ali, if we see him upset and he's going up, don't go upstairs. Divorce her now, so you don't have to give the entire mahar. You have to give half the mahar. Was that clear? Scenario 2, Ali and Veronica, they have a dispute in the wedding hall right after the nikah, and Ali in the corner says, Veronica, I don't think this is going to work. I divorce you. Is there iddah? No iddah. Why? Because there was no consummation or no seclusion. And he has to give her half the mahar. Was that clear? Yep. You got a question?
So, for the idea of consummation, is this the same through the form of madhab, or are there differences within?
I don't know. لا أدري. I've studied one madhab. This is what I mostly base my explanations on.
Yeah. Why is that so specific on 4 months and 10 days?
I don't know. لا أدري.
So what if a touch with desire happens but no seclusion?
Yes. I mean, without giving scenarios, you guys get the idea. All right. How long is the iddah for the woman who lost her husband, meaning her husband passed away? 4 months and 10 days. For a woman who is not pregnant, it's and she menstruates, it's 3 menstrual cycles. Is that clear? Not 3 periods of purity, but 3 menstrual cycles. All right. Yeah.
Even if, say, it's like delayed, say one happens, one doesn't happen, one happens, one doesn't happen.
It depends. Then we'll have to, the mufti will have to check how long is the gap.
Okay.
Right. the scholars differ strongly on the minimum days a woman can have for her menstrual period and the maximum. Right? One of the opinions, this is going to be a math riddle to see who's good at math. The minimum amount of days that count as a menstrual period is 1 day and night, 24 hours. Anything less than that does not count as a menstrual period and is considered to be irregular bleeding. Was that clear? The maximum is 13 days. This is according to one opinion. Anything more than 13 days, the 14th day will count as irregular bleeding. Was that clear? Sorry, the maximum is 15 days, not 13 days. 15 days. Anything more than 15 days is considered to be irregular bleeding. The minimum amount of days that a woman can be, the period of purity, the minimum amount of period of purity is 13 days. Anything less than that, if a woman bleeds, it's considered irregular bleeding. Was that clear? The maximum amount, there's no maximum amount of period of purity. Was that clear? What was the minimum amount of menstrual bleeding? 1 day and 1 night. Maximum? 15 days. The minimum amount of period of purity? 13 days. Maximum? No limit. According to this one opinion, what is the minimum amount of days of iddah for a woman? 42. Explain.
One bleeding.
Wait, before that, anyone disagree? Yes.
I would say, wait, am I counting? Sorry, go ahead, ask him. Let me do that.
I want to see anyone else who has a lesser number.
So what was the question? What was the minimum?
Yeah, so if a woman comes and says, in 15 days, I had my 3 periods. Is it possible?
No.
What is the minimum number you'll accept?
1 day, 1 night.
90 days?
Wait.
I have it.
Oh, minimum.
45. Don't say it, bro. I have it, bro.
Honest.
Wait, minimum. Minimum.
It's 45.
You had 42. You have 45. Anyone lesser than that?
Hold on. I have it. I just need to do the math.
I thought you all be smarter than this. But
I'm in agreement on 42.
it's not a sister's issue. It's a mathematical issue.
Okay.
What was the question?
Brother, it's not this serious.
No, I have to go because I understand.
Or just search it over.
71.
71? La ilaha illallah.
Wait, 3 cycles.
Oh, you said
3 cycles. You gotta keep in mind, it's 3 menstrual cycles.
45?
15 days.
Okay, who says 45? You said 45? You said 45.
33.
Okay, I'll come to you. Okay, why 45?
Because 15 days is the maximum.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
do 3 cycles.
I'm saying keep it minimum.
Minimum. 33.
So
15 days is maximum. I'm saying keep it minimum.
39?
You explain why.
Because it's 13 days, or
13 days is
13 days
is
the
minimum.
minimum, yeah, and 15
Okay.
days is maximum. If it's below 13, then it's irregular, and if it's more than 13, it's irregular.
No, you're confusing.
No.
You're conflating the issue. We said the minimum amount of days for menstrual period is how much?
1
day.
1 day.
3 days.
3 days. Okay.
She has period of purity.
What is the minimum amount of period of purity?
13 days.
No, 15.
Minimum.
Minimum amount of purity is?
13.
How many periods of purity will she have?
3.
No.
Two.
She'll have 2.
2.
Now do the math.
2. And then that's 13 times 2, 26, 27, 28, 29.
28 or 29? Yeah.
My bad, not 33.
Either 28 or 29 days is the minimum that is accepted to be for her to have 3 periods. And this happened at the time of Ali radiallahu anhu. A woman came and said, I got divorced and I have gone through all 3 of my periods. And he asked, how long has it been? She said 28 or 29 days. And he said, that is acceptable. But normally a woman has 1 period per month. That's normal. Okay, if a woman is pregnant until she delivers, as soon as she delivers, her period is over. Her iddah is over. So let's say, who should I use now? I'll use Ra'id. Ra'id and Rose got married. I'm keeping R and R, right? And Rose is pregnant. Scenario 1, Ra'id was done with his wife. Khalas, he's made his decision. He consulted his family. I am going to divorce my wife. As soon as he goes to divorce, or let's say he divorces, and later on that day, they find out that she had been pregnant for a week. طيب? Now, she is in her iddah for 9 months. Right? For 9 months, she is in her iddah. Meaning she cannot marry anyone until she delivers. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2. It's her due date. She's been admitted in the hospital. She's induced and everything. And Rose is going through not good. She's definitely going through a lot of pain. And she gets into a fight with Ra'id. Ra'id is mad as well. You know what? You take care of this child. I divorce you. Right? Yeah. And it's a moment of, he hasn't slept for maybe 2 days. She hasn't slept for 2 days. They're not thinking straight. Happens. Right? He divorces her. 10 minutes later, she delivers a child. Iddah is over. Can she marry someone right after that?
Yeah.
No problem.
The doctor.
Oh, yeah, that's
Sheikh,
Yes.
in regards to, let's say, there's a miscarriage or something.
Same. Very good question. Let's say 1 month into her marriage, 1 month into her pregnancy, she either had to get an abortion, maybe due to medical reasons, or she had a miscarriage. Her iddah ends. Her waiting period ends. Okay. Last one is if she doesn't have a menstrual period. Either she's menopausal or her medical condition doesn't let her or prevents her from having menstrual period. She has to go for 3 months. What is the ayah, Umar? وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. Those who are pregnant, that their iddah is to give, to deliver the child.
So after she divorces, after 3 months, she can get married?
Yes.
Okay.
3 Islamic months.
So those people who are, like they don't have their periods anymore, but they are, active, can they still get a divorce?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that verse as well, it says those who have not menstruated.
Yes.
So who is that referring to?
That is referring to, as you mentioned earlier, way early in the beginning classes, that you don't have to be at the age of puberty to be married. If a woman or a girl got married off to someone, and then they got divorced before either of them reached the age of puberty, there's been no consummation, she does not have her period. In this situation, either there's no iddah or there is 3 months. For khula, we did not mention the iddah for khula and annulments. Majority of the scholars, they say it's the same as a divorce, 3 months or 3 menstrual cycles. Was it clear? There's a very minor opinion that says it's 1 menstrual cycle or 1 month. Is that clear? It's always safer in these situations to take the safer bet. Like, any questions about this? I have 2 more topics left, and then inshallah we'll conclude.
So during the period of ihdad for a woman who's grieving.
Very good. Let me mention this. During the grieving period, a woman is not allowed to do a few things, which is overly beautify herself, leave the house for no good reason. So let's say she has to go for work, no problem. She has to go visit family, no problem. But to go on a trip, vacation, we say during the grieving time, you are not allowed to do so. Is that clear? 4 months and 10 days. It's with her iddah. Yes.
So for the widow, if
Yeah.
she was pregnant, it would be after her pregnant, or would it be under the 4 months and 10 days?
It'll be 4 months and 10 days. That would override it.
Okay.
Yes, very good question. Okay, now we'll come to what is a woman entitled to? Her expenditure, her financial care. A woman who is in a revocable divorce. Again, what is a revocable divorce? Less than 3? No compensation? After consummation. That is a revocable divorce. During the time of revocable divorce, she's still considered to be his wife. Therefore, she's entitled to all the rights, from financial care to accommodation to all of it. Was that clear? Irrevocable divorce, which is either 3 divorces or divorce with compensation or before consummation. In this situation, she is not entitled to any expenditure. No financial care, no accommodation. Unless she is pregnant. If she's pregnant, he has to take care of her until she delivers. All the hospital visits, food, drink, rent, all of it, he is responsible for. Is that clear? Like, one last person, which is a person, a woman whose husband passes away. Is she entitled to expenditure? No. She doesn't deserve any accommodation. طيب. Isn't that cruel? She lost her husband, and we say you are not entitled to any accommodation.
Allah is a
Who can figure out why?
He's dead. Her father or her husband?
No, very good. Inheritance. She's receiving a nice sum from inheritance. Right? When her husband passes away, she gets inheritance. She inherits from him. How much? 1/8 in one scenario, and the other scenario? 1/4.
1/8
Ah, Umar. وَلَهُنَّ الثُّمُنُ إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ إن كان لهن ولد إن كان لكم ولد فإن لم يكن لكم ولد فلهن الربع مما تركتم.
Welcome, this will really get me on there right now.
It's a difficult page. It's a difficult page in the Quran.
The hardest thing.
So if the husband has kids, she gets 1/8. If the husband doesn't have kids, she gets 1/4 of the wealth or the inheritance. So she gets inheritance, and we say that should suffice and replace accommodation. Is that clear? But if the mahar was due, she deserves the mahar, obviously, on top of the inheritance. طيب. Any questions about the expenditure? Okay, one last thing, which is child custody. Child custody is obviously an issue that the husband and wife usually dispute over. From age 1 to 7, whether it's a boy or a girl, the mother is more entitled to child custody, complete child custody, right? But we tell the mother, don't deprive the father of at least visiting the child, right? Because if you do that, then one day he will grow up to hate you. When he finds out who his father was and you kept him away from his father, the child will hate you. Don't deprive the father of visits, but you have primary custody. This is according to Islam. From the age of 7 till puberty. From the age of 7 till puberty. If it's a girl, then the father is more entitled to her custody. And for a son, he gets to choose either his father or his mother. Why is the father more entitled to the custody of the daughter? Because he's her wali, and soon he will marry her off. After the age of puberty. What is the age of puberty?
12, I think. Varies on
For girls, it's usually earlier, no?
Because knowing it, if you meet the condition, but if there's nothing apparent, then after the age of 15.
Very good. What are the conditions?
So for a man, maybe like
No, I don't want maybe. We need something
Okay.
solid. Yeah.
like hair.
So it's either a wet dream, pubic hair. If not, then reaching the age of 15. For women, there's one more, which is the menstrual period. That's a sign of it. Any one of these things happen, then a person is considered to be an adult Islamically, meaning all the obligations of Islam are mandatory upon them, and all the prohibitions are obligated upon them to stay away from, and they're liable for any crime that they may commit. After the age of puberty, the father is still more entitled to the custody of the girl until she gets married. Once she gets married, then who's responsible for her? Her husband. If she gets divorced, then back to the father. The son, once he reaches the age of puberty, then what?
He should.
No, khalas, no custody. You're an adult. Go figure out life. You have no right to ask your dad for anything. After you each reach the age of puberty, you have no right to ask your dad for anything. But we ask our dads for it. In the 30s, and we ask our dad, right? Right? Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, the young companion of the Prophet ﷺ, he would sleep in this masjid, and his dad had a house. It was normal. His dad's house is for his dad and his wife and his family. You go, figure out life. If you don't have a house, may Allah make it easy for you. Allah is Razzaq. Allah is Razzaq. Right? Yes, I'll take questions in 1 second. Yeah. This is default unless one of the parents is either it's harmful for them to stay with that parent, or that parent is engaging in haram. So let's say the girl, we said after the age of 7, who is entitled to her custody? The father. The father is an alcoholic or a drug addict. Then the woman can file for her custody. Or the father abuses her. Then the woman has right to custody. From the age of 1 to 7, who is more entitled? The mother. Right? Because the mother breastfeeds, she nurtures the child, and so on and so forth. The mother marries someone else, and the stepfather is abusive. We say now the father has a right to file for change of custody. Was that clear? All right, now I'll quickly take questions. Yes, sisters?
What if both parents are incompetent?
Sorry?
Like if both parents are incompetent?
What if both parents are incompetent? Very good. Then the scholars differ who is the next in line. The Hanbali school of thought, which I teach, they say after the mother, it goes to the grandmother. And after the grandmother, it goes to the maternal aunt. Then if not, then the paternal grandmother. Then if not, then the paternal aunt. Yeah. Who else?
That's for if it's from 1 to 7 or
Any of it,
in general.
in general.
Last week, I asked a question. So we established, we're talking about the words in Islam that if you say without meaning but intention, they still count. So one of them was divorce.
Yeah.
So let's say a couple, like we gave the example that even if they joke amongst themselves and they do it, it still counts.
It still counts.
Well, let's say they don't have that knowledge. They're jahil. Like they say it as a joke and they don't know. Later on, like 4 months later, they find out, oh wow, it's been 4 months
Yeah.
since we did that.
Some scholars give the leeway that if you don't know, then it doesn't occur. And some scholars say no. There's no sin on the person, but it still occurs.
So they still have to go through the process of, coming and like giving each other.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
This is related to the wali of a woman whose parents are divorced. If the wali is incompetent, as we were discussing, whether he's alcoholic, drug addict,
Yeah.
whatever issue, and the mother has remarried, does that person take on the role as wali?
No. The wilaya doesn't go to the mother's side, ever. The wilaya stays on the father's side. So if the father's not there, it goes to the grandfather, the paternal grandfather. Wali and hibana, wali and custody are two different things. After the father, it goes to the paternal grandfather. If not, then her brother. If not, then the paternal uncle. If not, then this son, sorry, it goes father, grandfather. If not, then son, grandson. If not, then brother, full brother, or half paternal brother. If not, then an uncle, a paternal uncle, a full paternal uncle, half paternal uncle. If not, then she chooses whoever she wants. Then she can choose her stepfather.
Okay, got it.
What's up?
I was asking him, because the thing with divorce, if you set like a condition, say like if you do X, then I'll divorce you.
Yeah.
And then she does X. Is the divorce immediately at play or?
Immediately at play.
Okay. Okay,
So let's say it was the third divorce. Or let's say the marriage wasn't consummated. Immediately, no iddah, done. Minor irrevocable. Yes.
Let's say it's done, but one of the parties doesn't know that
Yeah.
the action has been done.
Yeah.
The divorce is still valid.
Still valid. So let's say a husband texted his wife. Okay, did we talk about written divorces?
Yeah,
Okay.
you said that the verbal divorces hold more weight than the
Yes. So the written divorce is a divorce if intention accompanies it. It's like an inexplicit verbal divorce, right? So if a man signs divorce papers or texts his wife, "I divorce you," ask him, "Did you mean it?" If he says yes, that counts as divorce. If he says no, then it does not count as divorce. So signing divorce papers automatically is not an Islamic divorce, unless intention was there. Just one second. So let's say Ali divorced Veronica at 10 p.m. at night. Okay, and he meant divorce. She did not see the text until 1 week later. During that 1 week, she's considered divorced. Because a divorce occurs as soon as he said it and he executed it. Right? Is that clear? Okay, how about he has a voice note and he says, "I divorce you," and it doesn't go through.
Alhamdulillah for what's up.
And he sends it 1 week later, or he deletes it later on. Is it divorce?
Yes.
Yes, why?
He
He spoke it, khalas.
So you don't have to speak it when they're there? You can just do it?
Yeah. So let's say you do not want to see her, and you tell your father or your brother, "I divorce her, I want you to go and give her the message." It occurs from the time you
Said it.
verbalized it. Yes. Yes, you had a question?
Sorry, Kushal.
Could you repeat that?
What if the threat of divorce violates your Islamic rights? If the threat of divorce, like I'll divorce you if you do like such and such, but it's her Islamic right to do.
Can you give me an example?
Not like a
I didn't get the first part. Sorry, one more. What if he stipulates a divorce on something that is her right?
Yeah, like if he says if you like do X, Y, Z, and she's like Islamically allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And he says I'm gonna divorce you if you do it.
Yeah.
Is the divorce still
Yeah.
allowed?
He's foolish to do so. Right? But
They're still divorced.
that's still divorce. If it's for no reason. If he says, "I divorce you" for no reason.
Or it's like, or if he's like, I'll divorce you if it's like something
Let's say if he said, "I divorce you if you go see your parents." Is it her right to see her parents? Yes. If he said, "I divorce you if you see her parents," we say, get divorced. We shouldn't be with such a man. Right? That was a bit, don't get divorced. Like, may Allah make it easy. As-salam, take care. Any other questions?
One new question, just one question from last week. What do you think of the idea of a sister sharing her picture to a potential husband? I thought it's wrong for a man to have a picture of sister even in marriage.
It's not wrong to send your picture, but it has to be with hijab. You cannot send a picture without hijab. But be give a picture that you don't mind even if things don't go through. That's one thing. Secondly, is make sure the wali is involved when the picture is sent. So the man knows that the sister is not playing around. And now you have the whole deletable picture too. Right, yeah.
As a woman, is there any point before you get like exactly married where you're allowed to show your hair or no?
No. Majority of the scholars don't allow it.
But I know there's an opinion
There is an opinion, but we say stay safe, and it's always better not to. Yes, you had a question?
Oh, so only like if he says it on text, it doesn't count. Only verbalization.
Verbal counts whether he means it or not. Text or written or signed off counts if he intends it. Were you here last class? Okay. Last class you mentioned divorce in terms of its words are of two types: explicit words or an inexplicit, figurative words. Explicit divorce counts as divorce immediately. Figurative requires intention. So if a man tells his wife, go back home, we're done. We ask him, what did you mean, divorce or no? If he meant divorce, it counts as divorce. If he doesn't mean divorce, it doesn't count as divorce. That is the same concept we apply to a written divorce. If he sends it, the text, I divorce you, or he signs off a divorce document, or he sends a letter that says, I divorce you. We say, did you mean it? If you meant it, it counts as divorce. If it doesn't, then no. Does that make sense?
But even if he didn't mean it in person, but he said it.
Verbalized? Yes, divorce. The Prophet ﷺ said, if a person is playfully saying the word divorce, it counts as divorce.
So in text, if it's written something like "go back to your parents,"
The same rule.
same
What do you mean?
intention.
Yeah. And yes, Ali.
In regards to, say, a husband and wife, they separate. Is there but they're not like divorced, they're just separated. Is there a maximum amount or minimum amount of time that has to happen? Or if it passes this amount of time, then khalas, they're divorced?
Yeah, so the iddah, he has a right to take her back if it's a revocable divorce. The iddah ends, khalas.
Okay.
It requires a new marriage. Good question.
How about in a situation where between the husband and the wife, the talaq and the khula was not discussed at all, they just separated?
They're still married.
And still married?
Yeah.
Even if they haven't like spoken?
No.
No, okay.
So let's say they got into a fight and they said, let's live in separate places. Life continued, she's still married.
But in this scenario, one party or the other, if like let's say since the wife hasn't verbalized khula in this situation, if she's with her families and she says, I want to do khula, then
Yeah,
it
just
can
go through the process. Any other questions?
There's a question from Safi.
Bismillah.
He says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you're doing well, Shaykh. My question is if you would be willing to officiate my nikah.
Definitely, it would be my honor.
Okay. There you go, Safi. He's watching
Oh,
probably.
mashallah. His du'as got accepted at Umrah?
Allah.
Alright, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair for having me. This is our last class. May Allah bless you all in your studies, and may Allah keep you tools for the ummah, for his prosperity. And make sure to visit Masjid Farouk and keep in touch with me. Inshallah. Hamza.